All right, we are back for another episode of Launch Your Light, a podcast for the mystical and magical woman here to share her soul purpose. And boy, do I have someone on the show today who has done just that. We are here with Justine Harrington. She is a published author of Homecoming. I have it right here on my bookshelf next to me. She is the owner of Soul Sanctuary and Sage and Flame. And now you've got your dream space. There's a lot going on in your world. You are the perfect person to have on this podcast. And I'm so glad you're here, Justine.
I am so glad to be here. It's always an amazing time to talk to Jayme Gray. So it's good to do it in this format. I'm so excited.
Yes. Okay. So I just said a lot of cool names. You're doing a lot of cool things. And you started off when we started working together. LOL. I don't even know. I don't even know what to bring up from when we started working together back in the year. What was that, 2019 or 2020?
2020, I think. Beginning of 2020.
And I had just launched a mastermind, and you were like, yes, I need that. And you were working, right? I can't remember the position at your job. I don't know if you want to say what that job was or whatever, but you had a job. Like you had a real person job. But you knew
I
you had these visions and these dreams and these things you want to do. And looking back over these 5 years, it's like, whoa. So why don't you tell people a little bit about, because this is Launch Your Light, like what helped you launch from that to this?
Yeah, so that is a loaded question. I'm going to try my best to answer it. But I actually have been thinking about this a lot recently. So, number one, first and foremost, like what you just said, I came to work with you. I signed on to work with you literally before I even had a business. Like you were a business coach, that's what you were offering, bringing your soul purpose into the world, having a business around it. And I knew I was meant to do something, literally something. I did not know what that something was. I didn't know what it was going to turn into. I really had no idea what I was doing, but I just had this strong soul pull. I knew I was here to do something more. And so I had connected with you around that same time that I started to get those kind of downloads and messages and soul nudges. And you started offering, I don't even remember what it was called at that point in time, but you started offering this business mastermind one-on-one coaching. And all I knew was, well, I don't have a business, but I know that I need help. I know that I need help in whatever it is that is coming through me, whatever it is that I am here to bring into this world. I'm not yet sure what it is, but I know I need help to figure out what it is and to figure
Mhm.
out how to actually take the steps to do it. So I invested in that before it like quote unquote made sense.
Yeah.
Something that I always encourage people to do. Oftentimes, like we need help. We need help to get these ideas, these visions, these creations out of us. It's really challenging for us, like within the context of ourselves and our perspective, and our challenges and blocks to do the big scary thing, which bringing your soul purpose and vision and light into the world is a big scary thing. So first and foremost, I got help before it like logically made sense, but I just knew. Um, and I just like allowed myself to really just explore and like get really clear within myself and like get my energetic channel really clear so that I could get the information that I needed from my soul, so I could hear those soul nudges, so I could listen to my intuition, so I could take next steps and create the things that I'm here to create. And it's been a very non-linear process. I have created a lot of different things over the past 5 years, from my book to my coaching business to my brick and mortar businesses. Like there's been a lot that's come through me. And I really credit being in touch with myself and my intuition and following those soul nudges, and not just following them, but like actually taking action on them. Cause like it's one thing to be like, aligned and in touch with your intuition. And it's a whole other thing to then actually take action on it. Like you need both. You need to actually ground the visions and the downloads into reality. Like that's a very integral part of the process. Just you can't just listen to your intuition and not do anything about it if you want to actually create these things. So yeah, I like created the space within myself to listen to my intuition, and then I brought it into reality. with the help of amazing people like you, of course, because I would not be able to do that on my own.
I love all of that. I don't even know where to start with that, but you know what is just popping through right now? I was thinking this the other day. I was on a drive and you popped into my head and I was like, remember on one of our first calls, she was saying how scared she was to be like to post something online. And now you're like real queen. You're like crushing in you've got B-reels everywhere. You're constantly online. Anytime I pull up on social media, like one of your accounts is there. Like
I have too many accounts. I don't recommend anybody have 4 Instagram accounts. It's too much.
4 Instagram accounts, just so you guys know. Too much, she says, LOL. It's like, you know what I mean? It's just so funny to see what just a few years of someone, because as a coach, like I see you arrive. You arrive to these sessions and we go deep and we get clear about blocks, energy blocks, tech blocks, visibility blocks, or whatever, and just what the stories are there. And then to roll with you guys year after year after year and see you overcome that and then become the opposite of that is hilarious. It's hilarious. So another angle that we want to talk about today is this, that you and I have, we're similar here with why in the world would we open up, run, or be part of a brick and mortar in the year 2024? And I think that's a great place to go right now because this is what you're currently doing. This is what you've done. We've got our business in town, and almost anyone would go like, who's doing this these days? Who needs this? But I think the future is going to have a really cool transformational story here around in-person spaces and places. So you currently have, if you want to talk about Soul Sanctuary real quick and then loop it around to you helping people with this, please dive in.
Yeah, absolutely. So my brick and mortar businesses are Soul Sanctuary, which is a healing collective and gathering space in Coventry, Rhode Island. So we have, I should know the exact number, but I think over 15 different service providers and practitioners who work out of the space, all in the holistic realm. So we have everything from energy work to a shaman, traditional therapy, a medium, a holistic spray tan, an esthetician, massage, craniosacral. There's other things that I am missing here, but we have a large number of different healing and wellness modalities that are offered out of the space. And we also host classes and events. And so this is a very community oriented space. And really, when I first had the vision or the idea for Soul Sanctuary drop in, like that's what it was all about. It was all about the community and all about community based around things that I truly valued and cared about, which is constantly, growing and becoming my best self and healing and connecting with others who are on similar journeys and creating space to be seen and see and like spaces for vulnerability and personal development and spiritual development and all the things that are very important to me. I wanted a community based around that. So like first and foremost, as a online coach, like I wanted a community of different practitioners because I think anyone who's an entrepreneur can probably relate to this. Like it can feel really lonely and can feel really isolating at times, especially when you're in the online realm and you're just like, you're connecting with people, but it's through the screen. You're behind your computer often. If you're talking to people, maybe it's clients, potential clients, but like you don't feel like you have that community or camaraderie of like peers, people doing the same thing as you, people working towards similar goals. Like I feel like that can really feel like it's missing when you're an entrepreneur. So I was craving that first and foremost. And then just like a community of other people doing the damn thing, doing the healing work, doing the growth work, people who are focused on becoming the best versions of themselves. So I just really wanted that connection. And I had a lot of community in different online pockets. And that I think is great that that's an opportunity for us. Like, I think that's amazing that we can build relationships and community online, whereas like that didn't exist
Right.
10 years ago, less than 10 years ago. But I was just really craving that in-person element. So that was like the original seed for Soul Sanctuary was based on community. And the more I kind of like cleared my own channel, tapped into this vision that I was receiving, like tapped into this big, scary dream, which like at the time I was like, yeah, I'll do this one day. Like when I'm done doing like all these other things, like one day I'll get to this. But the more I kind of like allowed it to come in and like open myself to the energy that was Soul Sanctuary, because that energy very much already existed. And I was just kind of like coming into my channel to be birthed through me.
Mhm.
I could start to feel the community. Like the energy of Soul Sanctuary was the community. I could start to feel that energy come in and just feel like the openness and the connectedness and like the excitement around it. And that energy just like really started to come to life through me. And that like it went from like Soul Sanctuary is a one day dream to like Soul Sanctuary is inevitable because I was tapping
Mm.
into that energy of community. So like you said in the beginning, like who the hell is opening a brick and mortar business in 2024? Um, it's all about the community, and I think that that is an element that has been like such a deep part of human culture for such a long time, and we've really gotten away from
Mhm.
in a lot of ways, like in a lot of ways. And I think that like there's this underlying current and need happening like in the world, like in the collective right now, is like come back to that human connection.
Yeah.
And like being able to do that through the internet is amazing. Being able to like, this where we're like we can talk on podcasts and other people can listen, like that's so freaking cool. And it doesn't replace that like need for human connection. So like I think that's where brick and mortars,
Mm.
whether it is like a wellness space like Soul Sanctuary or a community like you're building at the gym, like that's I think the thread that is building these brick and mortars is the community element. Like people need each other. We need each other. And that's why all these spaces like are coming into existence and like will flourish and will thrive because we need these spaces to connect and to heal and to grow and to just be human.
Amen to that. Woo! What I'd love to add with there and like go is to one, the land, because I'm a druid, so I have to bring up the earth part. It's like the land wants to work with us. The land is calling us all over this world. And from Coventry to Warwick, which are the towns that we run our businesses in, that no one on this podcast outside of Rhode Island even knows what they are. But it's like that land we have contracts with as a community, let alone the owners of the space, the custodians of the space, right? Like I remember doing a meditation for all of your practitioners, right? And we worked with that energy, the feminine energy of the lake right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And called her up to the space and worked with the land and ceremony. Like it goes deeper than the buildings. It goes deeper than talking about the economy and where we are. This shit is deeper than that. And yeah, one world, this world that we've created that isn't working anymore is dying. But people like you and me, we're here for the rebuild of the new world, right? So what are we doing with these places and spaces? I think there's great ideas out there actually. And the co-op thing is huge. From co-op, that you see this all over the country right now, mini restaurants and little smaller restauranty food places coming together to make a big massive food hall. Frickin' brilliant. That's popping up everywhere. I've even seen things where they're turning old rundown malls into high schools. Really cool. Big, massive spaces and places. The only downside of that is they don't have windows, but they've added so much artwork and light into the space. It's alive again. Like, oh, like there's some really cool stuff. So what you've done is created this collective co-op, this gathering of amazing people. And what I love about yours is it's not like, okay, we're just gonna have a yoga person and like maybe like a therapist. Like, what did you say? Holistic spray tan? What?
Yep.
Right? So tell me, what was when you had the opportunity to say, I'm going to fill this baby up with some good people? I remember having conversations with you. It was not going to be what everyone else was doing. So what was that? What was that spark inside of like, nah, we need different names on the list here. We need different ideas. What happened inside of you there?
Yeah. So I think that there I've always said this when it comes to Soul Sanctuary, like my definition of wellness is broad, clearly. But like my definition of wellness is broad. So it's like I think traditionally when we think of these wellness collectives, we probably think of, massage and Reiki and maybe some talk therapy. And it's just, there's kind of the more mainstream modalities and offerings that are more broadly known. And all of those are amazing. I have and do partake in all of those services. Like those are great services. And there's so much more. And
Mhm.
I really discovered in my own healing journey, I think like Reiki was very much like the gateway drug for me in healing. Like Reiki was like the first thing I experienced, and talk therapy, I think, and yoga. I would say those are the three things that were like my introduction to connecting more deeply with myself and my own healing and spiritual journey. But that led me down the rabbit hole, so to speak. And I experienced so many other modalities that all greatly benefited me and really helped me to grow in very, very different ways. And so I wanted to create a space and a community and an experience where people can come and explore lots of different modalities and like wellness, healing, whatever words you want to use. I really see it as a mind, body, soul experience. Like we are multifaceted beings, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Like we need a lot of different types of care, depending, like not all at once, like different points in time in our life, in our journey, like we need different things. And I really just wanted to create that one-stop shop, for lack of a better word, of somewhere that someone can go. Maybe they come for a Reiki session and that's kind of like their initial experience. And then they learn about, oh, there's a shaman. What type of energy healing is that? And learn more about that and book an appointment there. And then maybe try out a breathwork class and like kind of they can explore different modalities in a safe, trusted space. Because I really like, I think anyone who's kind of in this world knows like there's no one thing, there's no one fix, there's no end of the journey. Like there's so many different amazing modalities and service providers and experiences out there. And I really want to like create the space for people to explore those.
Mhm.
I know that I learned so much about myself through some like non-traditional services and therapies and things that like I didn't know until I went exploring for. So to kind of have these different modalities and people like a little more forefront for people to explore, and like you don't have to go to the depths of the internet
Yeah.
to figure it out. You can kind of shop all in one place. Like that's what I wanted. And so I just kept my definition and like search criteria for wellness very broad and kind of let people come to me. I didn't go out of my way to say like I want this, and this. Like I didn't really have a search criteria. I put the signal out. I put the
Yeah.
light into the world, and allowed the right people to come to me. And that's kind of just the process. Like I haven't gone out of my way to get like specific types of services or practitioners in there. It all just happened like extremely organically.
Mhm.
And yeah, I am like so excited and proud of our offerings and the fact that we have like, yeah, holistic spray tan and an holistic esthetician who incorporates like Reiki and energy work into her facial services. Like, because it really is like mind, body, soul. Like we want to feel good in all the layers, and all of it is wellness. And all of it, I believe, should be looked at as wellness,
Mhm.
like from the skin deep. Like there's lots of layers here of how we can take care of ourselves. And so we're really bringing that all together. So I love that we have kind of services that you might not traditionally think of as being in a wellness space or a wellness collective. And we can really be that place where like people come and take care of themselves in all of the different ways.
And besides being a space for this collection of services, I want to say this for our listeners. You also have space for those who feel isolated and alone in these professions to come and have space, rent space from you to work there. Like my cousin Rosie, right? Who's like therapist online, doing this at home. She's sick of sitting at home all of the days and wanted community, had just moved to Rhode Island. And I was like, I got a girl for you because you know how I roll. But like, really, I had a girl in a space for her, and it was you, right? Like, you need to go there. You need to see this. and she's in and she's there 1 day a week. So I don't want to forget that, because that's a huge gap. So many people are working from home and losing their minds. Like you have to be a certain type of person to like enjoy that. I'm one of them, but it's small. It's small. So you have a space where you say, "Here, come and rent a day." It's yours. Have all your clients on that day. Take this. And it's not just the healing modality. Here's your table. Here's this. You've got couches. You've got a desk, right? You've got readers in there. Like, so if you want to talk about that for a second too, like it's not even just for services. It's also for like, who needs a day? Who needs a day at a collective, a space?
Yeah. Yeah. Like who needs to get out of their house and be in a community environment and like be amongst people, like-minded, like-hearted people. Yeah, that's again like very broad definition of wellness. And we do have people who don't necessarily like fall in the wellness sphere at all. Like we have someone who does marketing, we have someone who does digital ads, we have someone who does business coaching. And so like it is a wide net, a wide definition of like the types of people that we have there, but it's really all about the community. Again, like these are people who are seeking community, want that connection, want to work alongside people who are like them and make connections with people who are like them. And that's really what we're all about. Like that's the foundation of Soul Sanctuary. So yeah, we have different types of office spaces. We have different types of like lease structures, so you can have a full-time space for yourself. You can rent a day or two. I have a lot of different options for people because not everyone wants a full-time office space. Some
Right.
people like cozy. They want a day to get out of their house and do their work.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I have lots of different options, lots of different structures for people so that we can serve the most people possible.
And you have event space. You have
Yes.
the big Kahuna room. Oh my God, that big sexy open space, that dance happens there. Sound baths, breath work, sometimes yoga and movement. You have ceremonies there. Oh, how big is that space just for our viewers to have something in their mind?
I probably should know this square footage wise. It fits about 25 yoga mats in it.
Beautiful. And it's all windows and she has a mural painted on it. Like, also, you're a Libra. We do astrology on this call. So let's just bring that the fuck in right now. You're a Libra. So you made this place look and feel amazing. And Libras are one of the stylish signs on the zodiac wheel. I don't know if you know that. And you're right. You should see her little move right now, right? Like you guys are stylish and sensations and like what you're in and where you're in and the environment you're creating for people matters. And I think you did an outstanding job of that.
Thank you. Yes, and I'm a reflector in human design, which like they're also very much about their environment feeling right. So
Mm.
I got it from all angles.
Okay, I want to shift to the book before we forget this, because I also think that your book was a beautiful representation of one. I mean, I'm on the back end of the self-publishing world and editing 800 million freaking times right now. So you get it. And also, like, you getting the book out paved the way for this to come, true or false,
Absolutely true.
right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a testament of like, you get a big thing out of you. You show up and like that consistency, that grit, that determination, all of that, right? You get that out. And then, like, sometimes that opens up the floodgates for a whole other big thing. So you had a job and you were working in like the editing, publishing-ish world, let's say, and
Mhm.
you chose to. It wasn't like you were given or gifted it, but you chose to to do this, to get this book out as a healing modality, right? And then I don't even know what was the timing on this. You got that out, that was published, and that was happening, and you're rocking and rolling. And I remember being like, "Where's the places and spaces that we can get this book out?" And you're going to do signings, and then all of a sudden, boom! You're like, "I'm opening up a mega center,"
Mega center. Yeah,
right? Like,
we were on the same creation timelines. When you were pregnant with Goldie, I was writing Homecoming, and when you're pregnant with Jameson, I was opening Soul Sanctuary.
yes, And it's that with the like it takes that long to gestate this shit, if not more. If not more. But yeah, like how did that pave the way for you?
I feel like that's hard to like even articulate exactly how that paved the way. But I will say, like, I talk about soul nudges a lot and
Hmm.
like ensuring that like your channel is like clean and clear so you can receive that guidance, can receive those downloads, can receive the messages from your soul. But like these messages from your soul, it's not like someone's like, it's not your soul doesn't have a megaphone. It's not like yelling at you. It's subtle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quiet, very, very confident, but quiet. It's subtle. So like you need to really be in tune with yourself to hear these soul nudges. And I 100% attribute everything that I've done to just listening to those nudges. And usually like it's a nudge. It's not a shove. It's not a catapult. Like it's a nudge. It's going to move you a little bit forward. It's going to
Mhm.
move you like a half a step to a step forward. It's just going to move you to the next spot, and then you're going to get another nudge and you're going to get like another pull to then do something else. And it's so often, if not all the time, like we can't know the end goal. Like when I was writing Homecoming, like Soul Sanctuary was not a thought in my mind. Opening a
Right.
physical business was not a thought in my mind. Like if I
Right.
had known that was the end goal, I would not have started.
Yeah. Right.
I would have been fucking terrified. And I would have been like, no, like I needed to do all of these steps before I was ready to even be able to receive that message and that download. So like with Homecoming, I didn't even, I'm sure that you remember this, Jayme, like I didn't even start out intentionally writing a book. Like I went through my own healing journey, my own healing experience. Like I evolved and changed a lot as a person. And I am a Libra, but also strong Capricorn in my chart. So like I
Okay.
very much like want to understand and like organize and make order out of chaos.
Yep.
So like I really wanted to know like, okay, I know that I did a lot of like inner work and I have grown a lot, but like what did I even do? like like what did I even do to create these changes? So I started writing Homecoming more from that lens of like just trying to understand my own experience and trying to understand like I was basically trying to like make a process out of healing. Like I was like trying to like I wanted to like understand like how did I learn how to feel my feelings? Like I was extremely numb and blocked off for a majority of my life. And I really opened myself up to my feelings and did a lot of healing of past experiences, healing of old wounds. And I really wanted to understand like how did I do that? And is that something I can like literally almost create a process around that I can then share with other people? So that was the beginning, was just like simply being
Mm.
curious and trying to understand my own experience. And as I started writing Homecoming, with zero intention of sharing it with anybody at first, all of a sudden I was like, oh no, I think I need to share this with people. Like this is really valuable. Like what I'm creating here is like really valuable. And I very much believe in the power of vulnerability and story. Like we see ourselves more clearly through the stories of others and like by other people opening up and being vulnerable. It was my experience of like that opened up doors within me for me to explore. Like, you know, it's almost like someone gave me permission of like, oh, you're not the only one who feels this or has experienced this. And like that really opened up opportunities for my own healing. So like bringing the two together, like my story and the process around healing, I kind of like had an oh shit moment where I was like, oh, I think other people like this could really help other people. Like other people could really benefit from this. And then I had to go through a whole I had to freak out about that. I had to go through like a whole process to calm myself down, tap into myself and see like, is this really something that I want to do? How to go through that whole process. And I came to the conclusion, like, yeah, it's more important to me to create this resource for other people to share my story with other people so that they can see parts of themselves that maybe they haven't been able to or willing to look at. It's more important to me to help other people than to feel safe. Like I could manage the fear because helping other people and putting my story out there was more important. So that's how Homecoming came about. And like if I did not listen to that little soul nudge, that was just like just start writing your experience. Just like
Yeah.
just start trying to figure out like what happened in your healing journey. If I didn't listen to that, Homecoming wouldn't have existed.
Mm.
Like I had to just take that first step. in order for like in order for the door to even open. And again, like if I had started that process being like, I'm going to publish a book of all my vulnerable experiences in my healing journey, like I probably would not have started writing that. Like
Right.
I couldn't know that at first. I just had to listen to like that little nudge. And so like that whole process really just like showed me what I'm capable of and showed me like opened up the door even more to like fear will try to stop you from doing the things that you're here to do. Like it is trying to keep you safe. I had so many freak out moments through the process of publishing Homecoming where I was like, where the fear really was alive and was
Yeah.
present. And it felt very scary to be that vulnerable in such like a physical way. Like people were gonna like hold their story in my hands. I was like, like that felt so
Right.
scary. That
Yeah.
felt so scary to me. So like I learned a lot about fear and about my capabilities. And I think that
Right.
that really opened the door and set me up for being able to do the next big and scary thing, which was Soul Sanctuary.
Ooh, I want to touch on this real quick because I think for anyone listening who's like, I've got a book in me, and this is why I want to go deeper, and maybe we can have another call someday just talking about the book process. But that's mine was similar. It was essentially just starting off as like a workbook because I wanted like a workbook to go along the process that I was doing where I was compiling all of the processes of what I do to help people launch their light, right? And then I was like, oh my God, this is the book. This is it. Like this is fucking it, right? And it was like I gave myself just I was like, we're not no need to go all the way to fully self-published and making this and did it at Amazon's bestseller list in New York Times. Like that pressure is so overwhelming, it stops the majority of people in their tracks from even freaking writing. And I was like,
Mhm.
let's just make a cool, colorful, pretty guidebook. Like just a PDF, like let's see what happens. Right. And 100,000 words whittled down to 50,000 words later, a dopest process ever. Right. An entire had another infant in my arms and fucking did this. It was like I spent the year doing it, like a solid 7-ish months. Now I'm doing the whole like a year of editing is what it feels like. You know what I mean? And fleshing out with story. And it's like the confidence level is now there. I'm going to go through like a self-publishing boutique. Lumineer, because I'm like, I don't need to do this on my own. I deserve the support and help to be guided A through Z through this process. You know what I mean? Um, so it was just kind of like it launched in me, LOL, it launched the idea in me where I was like, oh my God, I've been having this thing on the, you know how I roll. I like do the thing and then I do the thing, I accomplish the thing, and then I need to teach the thing. It's my soul pattern. I can't stop it. I want to launch this thing called it's going to be launch your guidebook. So it's not launch your light, it's launch your guidebook, relieving like the pressure of all that, like, oh, it's got to be this, it's got to be that. It's like, no, maybe this is just a guidebook. Maybe this is just a workbook. Let's just work on that before you go anywhere else. And can we get people to the start of
Mhm.
writing? So yeah, that's like a whole nother call-in topic. But I think there's someone on here that needed to hear that today, needed to hear your process and needed to hear, right? Because when you open up these books about writing, it's like, stop thinking this needs to be on the New York Times bestseller, first of all, and let
Yeah.
this process be for you.
Yeah.
I know you're also, do you still help people with the book stuff?
It's like it's a backdoor thing.
It's one of her backdoor offers, guys. You've got to pull up to the back of the building and knock on the door quietly and then jump 3 times, and maybe she'll come out and help you out with her book. LOL. Okay, I want to spend the last few minutes we have here to talk about your dream space and how you're now helping people and coaching people through their brick and mortar experience. Yes?
hmm Yeah. So very much like you just said, you just put it like perfectly, like same soul medicine. Like I very much believe I am here to do the things and then figure out how I did the thing and then help other people do
Yes.
the thing. So like
Yes.
this of course is the next iteration of my coaching is supporting other people to open their own physical brick and mortar wellness space. So whether it's similar to Soul Sanctuary, where it's a wellness collaborative, yoga
Mm.
studio, maybe something else that like doesn't have a name yet, but someone imagines. I'm here to help people to actually go from like, okay, I'm feeling the pull, I'm feeling the soul nudge, to opening their doors. I have learned so much the past almost 2 years of opening and operating a brick and mortar space, a brick and mortar wellness space. There's a ton of things that I would do very differently if starting over. And I'm here to help people not make the same mistakes that I did. And
Beautiful.
of course, being the process-minded person, like I have created processes for every facet of my business. So from
Yeah.
the very beginning phases to actually operating the business, I have systems, I have processes that make everything just more easy, more streamlined. And like the big piece of why I offer this is because, like we began this conversation talking about, like these spaces are what's going to change the world. Like the
Yes.
world needs more safe spaces for people to come together and
Yep.
connect and heal and grow and have that sense of community. We, I think, do feel very isolated as humans right now in a lot of ways. And these spaces where people can come together and form relationships and form bonds and actually feel that sense of community, I very much believe is going to be that thing that starts to create the ripple effects that creates change in the world. So I believe strongly in the power of these spaces. I believe there can never be too many of these spaces. I want to see more healing, community-centered wellness spaces popping up. And I'm here to support the pioneers who are doing that.
Yes. Yes, amen. And for anyone who's listening to this right now, like, listen to how you're saying that. Listen to what I said about the book. It's like we're going, here, I did it. Let me teach you how. Instead of the old school, feminine kind of like, no, this is mine, or I'm not going to teach you how to do it. We're like, here, who wants to learn how to do it? I got the templates for you. Like, I will hold your hand through it, and I'll be the first one to cheer you on. And I'll stand in your space with you while you're shaking and crying, having just gotten the key. You know what I mean? Like, yes, this is the future, right? And it's the now, it's the present. You and I are pulling it into the damn present moment, right? But this is the future of community. It's not coming from those like wounded, unhealed spaces and places within us. It's coming from our light. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, I'm so excited. Okay. How can they get in touch with you?
Well, my 4 Instagram accounts. So Soul Sanctuary website is soulsanctuaryri.com. You can fill out any form on that website, it will come to me. You can find me personally on Instagram. My Dream Space Instagram, which is all about creating your own brick and mortar wellness space, is your.dream.space. And then I also have my other personal Instagram, which is Justine.L.Harrington, and that will lead you to all the other Instagrams that are out there, Soul Sanctuary and Sage and Flame, which we didn't even talk about the retail store that I have, but Sage and Flame is a spiritual boutique retail store that is a part of Soul Sanctuary as well. So those are the places to find me.
And you can give me a link. I'll put it in the show notes. So you give me whatever links you want them to get sorted out. Do you have anything snazzy or special for any of our listeners? Like maybe like an info call with you, or like a connection call, or a
Yeah,
PDF?
I
Because I know you've
would.
made lots of pretty things.
Yeah, I would be delighted to have a call with anybody who's interested in talking about any of the things that we talked about, but specifically your own dream brick and mortar wellness space. We can do a complimentary vision and strategy call. So even if you're like, I feel like this is an idea that I might have, it might be like a 1 day thing. Just to circle back to what I said in the beginning of the show, like a 1 day thing can really, really quickly become a right now thing. So even if it's like,
Yeah.
maybe it's a 1 day thing, I don't know. Let's talk. Let's talk and see what
Yeah.
happens. So I'm happy to offer a complimentary vision and strategy call for anyone who's interested.
Oh, this was so good. And I feel like we're already like at a nice 40-minute mark. And I think that's just enough to be like, look how amazing and powerful and beautiful your soul is to be on planet Earth here doing it. And if anyone wants more, go reach out to Justine and get in her world. Or better yet, if you're in New England, stop by. You can literally get on and look at your calendars and make a day of it between the shop and the events and the services. You can make a day of it and go see Justine. So thank you, everyone, and all of our listeners. Thank you, Justine, for joining us today and sharing all of this. I hope to have you back on the show, and I can't wait to see what more magic is made in your field, in your space, everything.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. I am going to say goodbye to now to our listeners, and we will see you soon.